Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Come see us at the Blue Ox.
Welcome in. It's another edition of the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens, 93.5 The Beach. We are broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens 44. Give yourself a hand. Coming up, it is week number 13 in the NFL, week number 12 for your now 9-2 Baltimore Ravens. We're going to recap the 16-13 overtime victory against the San Diego Chargers. We're going to talk news and notes, take a look around the AFC North, and yes, it's Steeler Week once again, the second time in 3 weeks. We'll talk about the upcoming game against Pittsburgh on Sunday at 4:15. The Ravens Wrap Show brought to you by our friends at the original Green Turtle, also the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Our folks at Bud Light, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Geico, the Ocean City Golf Club, jctickets.net, and the Holiday Inn Express. I'm Mike Bradley from 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. To my left, making another appearance, it's great to have him back from the RussellStreetReport.com, RussellStreetReport.com, Tony Lombardi, Editor-in-Chief. Welcome back, Tony.
Great to be back. It's been a long time. I think the last time I was here, it was Steve Bisciotti was here.
I think that's right. Yeah. Voted Baltimore's best 5 years in a row by the fans. The best Baltimore Ravens website, better than even the team's website. To his left, former Lehigh College player and OC local, and he's actually wearing a Ravens shirt today. He's finally in compliance with the dress code. John Garrick, welcome back.
I'm just conforming. Ravens are the best. I'm the only one clapping for you. Wow, what did you say?
And to
They
his
used to love me. Now
It's
they want
icy
to
in
kill me.
here.
well, we'll see if you can't warm up to the crowd today.
Well, we'll see if Ron gets more applause than
Yeah,
me.
well, Bucksy did a few weeks ago, so we'll see. Our special guest.
I even picked the Ravens to win. I'm sorry, Ron.
All right.
Sorry, John.
Our special guest, our Steelers insider on this Steeler Week, Ron Strickler from OC Parks and Rec. And, well, now that the families know that you're a Steelers fan, they're probably going to take their kids to Berlin or Ocean Pines, just to let you know. But Ron Strickler, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, guys. The Ravens are 9-2, so John wore it short tonight.
This is our
See,
sacrifice.
Bucksy left you hanging after the loss. But,
You know, Bucksy took the first game for a reason.
Now, we were told, though, that Bucksy came through with the bet and he dyed his hair purple in the Pines or Berlin, one of the two, earlier this week. So, hats off to Bucksy, went through with it, and I think the guest bartending took place,
I think
too.
hats on for Bucksy.
Yeah, well, it might be. Yeah, he may need to have hats on.
Bucksy had won. What was the bet for the Ravens fans?
I don't know. Did Papo have to dye what hair he had? Steeler black? I don't know. He's not here. Okay, we're good.
He had to get spray paint his bald spot with the Steelers logo.
Black and gold, right?
Like make his head look like a bumblebee, like his uniform.
Right. Oh, boy. I tell you what. Well, hey, we hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday. Of course, we were off last week for Thanksgiving, but we're back at it. And a programming note, we're going to be programming the show, I should say recording the show, that is, next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Love to see you down here at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Guys, let's get to it. I mean, this is yet another week where we're saying, hey, it's better to win ugly than lose pretty. It's a big win for the Ravens in that they stay in that number 2 spot right now in the AFC for that playoff bye, which, I think the Ravens would desperately need the way that they've played so well at home, but not so well on the road. And according to the NFL, the Ravens can clinch the AFC North title for the second consecutive year with a win coming up Sunday. And as Cincinnati Bengals lost to the San Diego Chargers, they are out in San Diego for that game. The Ravens can clinch a playoff spot with a win, their 10th of the year, or a tie, plus the Bengals loss, or a Miami Dolphins loss or tie against the Patriots. So anyway, a few different scenarios out there. So already we're talking playoffs for this team. And Tony, it's a fifth straight season of at least 9 wins. You know, again, it wasn't pretty, but they got it done. And I think the big thing is, hey, it's so hard to win on the road again. We talk about that, and they didn't start well, but they finished well, and that's what matters.
I think, and you're right, Mike, I think the thing that gets lost in this whole translation of, you know, and the whole aftermath of that game is that the Ravens defense is really starting to play ball.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of focus has been given to the 4th and 29 play, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And for the slow start of the offense, the lethargic start of the offense, they don't seem to do anything until their back is to the wall. And that seems to get most of the attention. But I think that Ravens fans can really take solace in the fact that the defense is starting to get it together slowly but surely. And they're just, that's a good thing heading into some of these quarterbacks that they're going to be playing down the stretch.
No question about it. And John, I think about 14.5 points given up a game since the bye. So they've corrected a lot of wrongs. Hasn't exactly been against the best offenses, but they can only play who's on the schedule.
That's a great point, and not a lot of people talking about the defense. And you know, going into the bye, ranked 27th or so in the league in total defense, and you know, coming out, you have the Raiders who with down 2 running backs, and so they're, you know, the Ravens know they're just going to throw the ball, and then you play the Steelers with Byron Leftwich, so that you know that the Steelers are going to try to run the ball. So this was a big test because, you know, the Chargers' record may not be great, but they are a very well balanced team that had posed some matchup problems, and the Ravens had their troubles a little bit in the second quarter, but came out in the second half and really dominated the game and got a pass rush. I mean, we haven't seen that pass rush really in a couple of years.
Right. Well, when you take a look at it, I mean, the Ravens coming off a 13-10 victory Sunday night at Pittsburgh, so a little bit of a shorter week. They had Thanksgiving, so they, as John Harbaugh said, were packing in a little bit more in less time for the week than the West Coast trip, adjusting to the 3 hours difference that you lose going out there. And also, once again, for a second straight year, it's a situation where San Diego's backs were up against the wall. This was a make-or-break game for them, much in the way it was last year for them, so you knew you were going to get their best. I mean, Ron, going out to the West Coast, it's not easy. It's tough enough to win on the road, but to win on the West Coast is tough, and the Steelers had issues this year with going out against the Raiders, and they lost to them.
Yeah, it's the Raiders. I mean, it's a must-win game. You go into that game and expecting to win, you come out with a loss. It was just unbelievable for the Pittsburgh. I'm just watching that game. You know, even watching the game, Ravens on Sunday, you know, you don't want to fall into that trap where the Pittsburgh lost, so now we want the Ravens to lose. But somehow, miraculously, he gets that 4th and 29. It was a great play. But you guys are right. The defense, I think you take a look at the turnover ratio for Baltimore, too, sitting number 2 in the AFC at plus 12. You know, that's a big number right there. You know, Pittsburgh's negative 10. So, you know, I think that shows where we're at right now.
Tony, you know, you take a look at this team through the years, and obviously we'd be offensively challenged to say the least. I think the difference now you see in, say, from 2009 to now is that the Ravens can get off to an ugly start offensively. The defense can keep them in a game. But now we have the ability to come through and score some points. We've got the weapons to be able to do that. So even though we're still getting off to a slow start on the road, which, you know, it's not a good thing to dig yourself a hole like that, they now have the ability to come through and win these games with offense when it counts, as compared to years past with Kyle Bowler, who had very little work with, and Bowler wasn't that great of a quarterback himself anyway. So.
Yeah, they have a lot of weapons, and I think the thing that they did this offseason is, well, first of all, you have the maturation of Torrey Smith, and he's coming along really well, and he made some big catches down the stretch during that game. And Anquan Bolden's doing the things they brought him on board to do, you know, be physical, make those tough catches, be a dominant force as a wide receiver in the running game. So that all helps, and Ray Rice, of course, is a big factor, as we've seen. And even when Jacoby Jones gets a chance to play, he's got to be accounted for. And I think they're able to spread the field a little bit more. I wish Cam Cameron would use the middle of the field more. It's almost like the demilitarized zone. They can't go in there. But, you know, I think if he does that a little bit more, and I think you saw when their backs are against the wall, they're doing more of the digs and the drags, and Torrey Smith turns a 5-yard pass into a 54-yard gain. So let these guys make plays.
Yeah. I mean,
put them in position.
Jerry Rice has a Hall of Fame career on that play.
That's right.
You know, so I mean,
Yards after the catch.
Yards after the catch, and that's where, you know, we talk about Joe a lot, and we saw the Joe Flacco I've been talking about for all these weeks. I mean, you see the terrible Joe, and then you see when the game's on the line, 260 yards of his 355 came with 7.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter through overtime. So I mean, give him credit. I mean, when the game's close and on the line, he'll make the plays. But man, if we could put it together for 4 quarters, that's the type of QB he can be. just dominant and great. And you know, I don't know. It's just like the game just needs to. When he can't think, when there's nothing left to do but play, his physical tools take over, and he's great. But when he's got all this thinking to do, and what should I do, or I got to do this, or I got to read this guy, it's like in the beginning of the game, I don't know what it is, Tony. It's just something happens.
Sounds like he's like the guy that was the pitcher in Bull Durham. Don't think.
Don't think.
Maybe he needs to wear like tight underwear or something like that from Susan Sarandon. I don't know.
How much of that is Cam Cameron, and how much is that Joe Flacco? How much freeway are they giving?
It's a great question, and you got to think that he isn't given a lot of freedom, particularly on the road, and I think it shows. I mean, look at the freedom he gets at home when he's allowed to run that no huddle, and he seems to be more in his rhythm, and I think that's a big thing for Flacco, rhythm, and he doesn't seem to find it until their backs are to the wall, like John said.
If you can't, I mean, that's almost not like a road game. I mean, you have a trip out there, but it's not like they just got off the plane, an hour before the game. There is no, I'm tired. These are pro athletes. But that stadium, it's perfect weather. There's no wind. It's sunny. The fans.
It's not very loud there.
Fans don't care. They're just kind of sitting around.
The stands are far from the field too.
Yeah, it's not loud at all. Yeah. So it's, I don't know. It's just a situation where you get a win and you see your quarterback can make the plays and pull the victory out, so you feel good about it. But it would be nice, it just would be nice to go out and throttle a team like the Patriots did to the Jets or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to give a counter argument a little bit. And again, look, Cam Cameron has plenty of faults. I'm not going to deny that. I took a look and try to break down the first half and the various drives. When you go through the various things, I mean, you had 4 drops in the game. You had penalties at inopportune times. You had, in the run game, and we saw this against the Steelers 2 weeks ago. It's one thing to get no yards on a play or maybe just 1 yard, but we were getting negative plays. Some of that has to do with the lack of execution on the field and the fact that guys aren't getting the job done when you have penalties, drop balls, bad passes, and negative yardage plays. That makes it very difficult for an offensive coordinator that faces 2nd and 12 and 3rd and 8 when the defense knows what's coming. So, again, some of that he can help out with. With helping out with tackles formationally. I've talked about, chipping defensive ends and giving them help. But, some of that's got to be on the players too, folks, when I look through this.
Well, 3 things I would point out, 3 passes from Joe Flacco. Anquan Bolden, the first possession it may have been, maybe the second possession, wide open down the right sideline.
Yeah.
He throws the ball out of bounds.
Right.
Then there was another throw deep down the middle to Dennis Pitt.
Right.
Overthrew that by 5 yards.
Yeah.
And then another pass that looked like Torrey Smith was running a deep post. If he throws the ball in the direction that Torrey Smith was going, it's a touchdown. Yeah. He throws it over his back shoulder for some unknown reason.
Right. He did that a couple weeks ago too. I mean, and those are the types of plays when you're talking about yards after the catch too. It's just not completing the pass. In the NFL, you have to complete the pass in stride because it's those plays that you enable the receiver to run. And look, I'm not here to pick on them tonight. They won the game, and he's the reason.
I thought I had somebody on my side.
He's the reason. He's a big reason why they pulled the victory out in overtime and in the 4th quarter. But these are types of little things. Throwing the ball out of bounds. I mean, if this was Tony Banks when he kept throwing the ball out of bounds, or Kyle Bowler, we'd be stringing them up.
All right, lots more to get to. The 16-13 overtime win against the Chargers. We're back with more of the Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach. We're back.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.